Hey, it's Sam, and I'm making this recording to give you an overview of what I'm going to be teaching on the virtual Sedona Vedic Astrology Conference that's upcoming. I'm doing a workshop on Shadbala, which is the sevenfold division of time in Vedic astrology that we use to analyze the planets. And I'm going to be focusing on a couple different facets of Shadbala in the course as well. It's going to be an all-day workshop on Monday, the 23rd of November, and you can register for that. And if you can't even attend in real time, then you can buy access to the recordings, and you'll have it forever. If you do attend, you also get the recordings as well, so that'll be easy. But Shadbala is a fascinating way to analyze the planets in Vedic astrology based on universal themes that are that really give insight into important astrological considerations. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you not just an overview of Shadbala and how it works, but also this way to do readings and how to take the Shadbala facets and turn them into different readings so that you could do what's called a rank and file reading. Notice the percentile rank of each of the balas, compare and contrast planets with each other, issues and career relationship, Shadbala readings, Dasha planet examination, Digbala life direction reading. These are different readings that you can use based just on Shadbala. And I have a lot of case studies. Here's a chart of the tennis player Steffi Graf. I'm going to be going over using her chart. And so it's going to be very experiential as well. It's not just going to be me giving a bunch of theory. Those who have studied with me know that I drill down into specifics. I don't just lecture about theories. We get into charts, and so you'll really like that. And I have the manual, at least a big part of the manual. This will be part of the class that we'll be going over. And you'll see that first we have, if I'll just go over the 7 components of Shadbala. The first is called Shtanabala, which literally means like standing strong. That's what you're evaluating with Shtanabala. And it's based on actually 5 different components. So again, even though it's just called Shtanabala, it's based on Uchabala, which means exaltation strength. So the proximity of the planet to its exaltation degree. Saptavargajabala, which is the planet's strength in 7 harmonic charts. Ojayugmabala, which shows the uneven or even navamshas of the planet. The Kendrabala, which means its strength in an angle. That's the Kendrabala. And then the Drekanabala, which is its strength in the Drekana. So those 5 components make up one bala called Shtanabala. So again, you can see, even though it's called Shadbala, one of the balas has actually 5 different calculations. So this is very detailed. But again, one of the things that we learn when we study something in depth, and it's the reason to learn it like this, is because instead of just seeing this score, this Shadbala score in your software, and you don't even know where it comes from, you study each one. So Shtanabala, which means standing strong, the thing that makes the planet stand strong and have Shtana are these 5 things. This exaltation, or the Ucha Bala, Saptavargaja Bala, which is its strength in 5 harmonic charts, its odd or even navamsha, its proximity or its angular strength, the strength in angles, and its power in the Drekana. So all of these things are what make the planet stand strong. So that in itself gives a great indication about angles, about strength in harmonic charts. In fact, there's a thing called Vimshopaka Bala, which also analyzes harmonic charts, also exaltation. So all of these things give you an indication of what makes the planet stand strong. So whenever you study something in depth like this, you not only learn the specifics of it, but you learn the principles as well. So that's also really cool. So within the class, we're going to learn Sthana Bala, which again includes Uchabala, Saptavargaja Bala, Ojayogama Bala, Kendra Bala, and Drekana Bala. So we'll talk about that. And then we go to Digbala, which is directional strength. And I'm going to do an intensive just on directional strength as well, and also the reverse directional strength. So I'm going to do a special about an hour, hour and a half just dedicated to Digbala because it's so important, because the directional strength shows the planet taking us in the direction that we want to go. Each planet takes us in a direction, and we want to see if it's taking us in that direction or taking us away from that direction. And so, for example, Mars and the Sun have directional strength in the south, which is the which is near the 10th house, right? So Sun and Mars, they take us where we want to go in our career and in the 10th house. Saturn takes us where we want to go in the 7th house, or in the west, which is in our relationships with other people, makes us realistic, practical, committed. Moon and Venus take us where we want to go in the direction when they're in the north, which is the 4th house. And Mercury and Jupiter take us where we want to go when they're in the east, which is the 1st house. So we have to look at that, and we're going to analyze it, understand it conceptually, and also the reverse directional strength. So when you get the Sun and Mars, let's say, in its opposite directional strength, then it's taking us away from it. So we're going to study all of that. We're going to go really in depth with directional strength, because every chart has at least a planet or two where there's really powerful directional strength or opposite directional strength, or some version of that where it's really taking us where we want to go or really taking us away from where we want to go. And that's going to be a focus as well. We're going to focus on that one a little bit more because it's so important. All those angles, right? Like our relationships, our career, our identity. So then there's another one that's very interesting called Kala Bala, right? And of course, Kala means time. And there are 9 different parts of Kala Bala, right? So it shows the strength of the planet through time. And so there are several different increments of time where we want to measure the strength, Nata Unata Bala, which is day and night strength, right? So, Moon, Saturn, Mars are powerful during the night. At noon, they're powerless, et cetera, et cetera. So Paksha Bala, which is, the Paksha means the fortnight or the waxing or the waning cycle of the moon, right? Waxing, waning cycle, those are called Pakshas. Planets are stronger, closer to different sections of the Paksha or on waxing and waning moon. So Paksha Bala is very important. And again, the principle is important as well. Also, we have Tribhaga Bala, which breaks up the day and the night into different sections. So we look at that as well. Varsha Bala, which, a Varsha means year. So the Lord of the year gets 15 Shastiyamshas. And again, that's like if it's in a natal chart, that Lord of the year. And then the Masa Bala, Masa means month. So the Lord of the first day of the month in which the person is born, that's important. Then the Vara Bala, Vara means day. So the planet that rules the day, that gets strength. Hora Bala, which means the hour that the person was born. Then Ayana Bala, this is a very important principle because Ayana means solstice. Of course, you've heard the term Ayanamsha, which means the solstice portion. It's very interesting to also ponder when we look at Ayana Bala. And by the way, I use the texts, Bharat Parashara Sastra and the actual quotes from the texts in order to, delineate this for you. But one of the things that's interesting as it relates to the zodiac, and it's how we know that we use sidereal zodiac in Vedic astrology, is the calculation for Ayana Bala is to add the Ayanamsha to the longitude of the planet, which means we find the planet sidereally, and then we add the Ayanamsha to it in order to find how close it is to which Ayana. So this is a clear proof that we're supposed to use the sidereal zodiac to find the planets. And then in order to find the ionobala of the planet, we have to add the ionomtia to the planet. Now, again, if we weren't supposed to be using sidereal, if we were using tropical zodiac, if that's what we were supposed to be doing, there would be no need to tell us to add the ionomtia to the longitude of the planet, because we would already be using the tropical zodiac, which is the ionomtia, or I'm sorry, which has the iona added. So it's very clear that we're supposed to use sidereal zodiac and then add the ionomtia to find its ionobala. So again, this is why you study these things, and when you study them in depth, you learn other things. So then we also have Eudobala, which means the planetary war. And that's when planets are within one longitude of each other. But we're also going to break out a little more into the planetary war and what that actually means and ways to look at planetary war. So that's all part of Ionobala. I'm sorry, that's all part of Kalabala, which is the strength of the planet through time. So then we also have Chestobala. Chestobala is the strength based on the speed, and it means when the planets are slower, they actually have more power. So they're slower when they have more power, which also shows why when planets are retrograde, they have the most power, because they're not moving fast. In fact, they're moving backwards. So Chestobala shows so when a planet has high Chestobala, it means it's moving backwards. And so the sun and moon have Chestobala in different ways because they don't move in the same way. And the sun's Chestobala is based on its Ionobala, which means the first day of the summer, it has the highest Chestobala and the highest Ionobala. And the moon, it's based on the Pakshabala, or the full moon. So we're going to talk about these things. But again, Chestobala is very important because it shows the speed of the planet and the strength based on the speed. Then we have Nisargikabala, which is the natural strength through the brightness. And this one is actually fixed because it's based on the brightest planets are the most powerful, right? So, of course, Sun, Moon, Venus, Jupiter, and they're already ranked according to their brightness. But again, it also shows a principle that's very important to understand. So this is why we study something like Shadbala and really understand what the components are, because then you're not just looking at that score, you understand where the score comes from, and you're examining all of these other principles like, brightness is really important. They were obviously using sidereal zodiac because in the direction for Ionobala, we have to add the ionomtia to the longitude of the planet. Well, that would only make sense if it was sidereal zodiac, right? Oh, directional strength. Okay, it's taking us in the direction. That's the planet based on the angle. Oh, so we get all kinds of insight and wisdom when we also study the groupings, like we see how Uchabala, or the exaltation of the planet, exaltation is something that makes the planet stand strong. Okay, it's in that category, right? Same way with, things like the planet in the angle, that makes it stand strong, right? Planets in an angle. Other things like, for example, the day or the month, that adds to the Kalabala, which is its strength in time, right? So when we see the categories as well, it gives us a sort of context for the strength, right? So the last one is Drigbala, or I'm sorry. So we did the Drigbala here, which is the strength of the support through aspects. So this shows positive and negative support by planets that are natural benefics or natural malefics aspecting it. Again, this also reinforces the principle just of natural malefics and benefics and how their influence on other planets, are important, right? So again, that's called Drigbala, or the strength through aspect. And then we have the total Shadbala, where we add all of those up, and then we get the total the total Shadbala score. And that total Shadbala, of course, is an aggregate of all of those different components, and that allows us to then get a kind of overall score. To be honest with you, I tend to put less on that overall score. Of course, all of it's important, but I like to see the different components separately. It's the same with things like it's similar to the kutas, right? For like relationship matching or something. You look at that score, but you want to see why the score is what it is. And so in any example, when I see a planet has lower Shadbala, I want to see why. Is the Shadbala lower because the planet, for example, is really far away from its exaltation degree? Is it have its opposite directional strength? Is it because it's very very dark, or it's very, or like it's moving very fast, so its Chestabala is low? What is the what are the variables that are making the planet have the low Shadbala? And so again, we're going to go over that, and then I have another example. Then I have another part of the class where we're going to apply those things to a chart, and I'm also going to show you how to take these things and do readings. So again, I have several readings here broken out. One is called rank and file. So you just notice the percentile rank of each planet relative to its percentage, and you just kind of rank each planet based, as a karaka, and say, and we look at the percentage, like, Jupiter has got, 175% of its ranking. So you would be able to do readings based on those ranks, right? The rank and file reading would be, the most powerful is Jupiter through Shadbala, which shows that you have a lot of inspiration and teachings and guru. Saturn is also the next, which shows that you have a lot of determination and effort. So that would be like a rank and file reading based on Shadbala. We also have a compare and contrast planets with each other in general, especially as you may be looking over a certain character trait like confidence or happiness or optimism or resilience. You can look at the Shadbala factors that relate to whatever issue you're assessing, also based on the timing. So for example, you can do a sort of compare and contrast of planets with each other, but also things like confidence. So again, if you want to find confidence, you could look at something like Shtanabala, how confidently the planet is standing, or each planet is standing. How, you could just do a directional strength reading. The directional strength of each planet is this planet really taking you in the direction that you want to go, like with your relationships or this or that. Issues, issue type readings like career or relationships. So for example, you would assess Venus and the seventh lord, and you can compare them based on the Shadbala factors. Again, Shtanabala would be like you're standing in relationships. For example, the Digbala would be the direction in relationships, let's say of Venus and the seventh lord. So like Venus, like the Shtanabala of Venus is like you're standing in the relationship. The seventh lord is also you're standing in the relationship in a different way. The directional strength of Venus and the seventh lord is the direction in the relationships, etc. Kala is the time and the timing in the relationships. Chestabala would be the focus or the brightness in the relationships. So again, these are very practical ways to use this information that I'm going to give you as well as part of it. And there's other ones: Dasha Planet Examination, Digbala Life Direction Reading. Again, you can evaluate all the planets and see if they're taking you where you want to go in your life. You could do a whole reading on that, just on directional strength. That's why I'm going to focus on that one a lot. So I'm going to make this very practical for you as well. And there's a few other ones here. I have a few case studies. I have, this is my chart here. I had done this class before, but then there's also Steffi Graf, famous tennis player. We have her chart here, and I'll probably have another one here to look at. But it's going to be both very, very, very comprehensive overall, so you'll understand what Shadbala is and how to use it, and also very practical, so you'll know how to do different readings. And it can, like right away, if you're doing readings or you're thinking about it, this would be a great way also for you to just offer something different, really jump in there with helping people, move in the direction that they want in their life or other kinds of things. And so I'm really looking forward to teaching this again. I've taught this before, but this will be great to, streamline it in a way that'll be very practical for you, and you'll have access to the recordings for the rest of your life. So go ahead and sign up for that. I look forward to having you in the course on the Sedona virtual conference upcoming on November 23rd in real time. And then again, you can always visit the recordings later.